Okay, so it's been a few days again, a couple days at least. I don't even remember the last video that I made. And I think they might be slightly out of order a little bit because I didn't get to upload for a minute. Um, but that's fine. I'll try to put the numbers in order. So it is what it is. But yeah, so I'm in St. Louis right now. I got here about an hour ago. It's 2 a.m. Um, I'm chilling outside this area. There's a park in front of me. I'm pretty close to the station and to the Union Station. The fucking whatever I came in on. I'd gone down like near the outdoor Amtrak to sleep in one of the bus vestibules, but vestibules. Sorry, but it was already every one of them was taken by somebody else already sleeping. So I I don't I'm still struggling to figure out exactly like for a more concise like idea of exactly what it is that I'm doing because I've been trying to engage with my own community. And to be honest, I'm exhausted and not even like for a minute I felt like I was doing good and like I was helping people out, but it's not that I'm not. I know everybody that's interacted with me needed to the way that it happened. But I've also made a lot of mistakes and fucked shit up myself. And I don't know, man. I'm just finding like the kind of support I really need. Uh, Pretty hard to come by. I don't know though. Like I don't know what support I need. Sorry, I'm really tired. I haven't. So I got on the train in Kenosha yesterday to go to Chicago, and I happened to meet an old friend from fucking high school on the train. So we hung out. He ended up staying in town in Chicago with me to rent a hotel so that I had a place to stay, which was more than generous. Um, I mean, and I, you know, well, he didn't really eat. I tried to buy us some food, but he couldn't keep any of it down. He's really sick. Um, but he did pay so that I had a place to sleep and to shower. He didn't ask anything of me for it, you know. I mean, truly, he really just wanted to reconnect and stay more connected. I mean, he offered to let me come and live with him if I needed to, which, like, I've had a, a handful of people, like, offer to let me stay with them or to help me out in any of these different ways. But it always seems to be at the, I mean, pistachios. It always seems to be at the expense of this quest, my freedom, just my. I love these people. I love that people are so willing to help. It's incredible to me Like, I don't think I'm a bad person, but like, I annoy the fuck out of myself. Like, my personality, I feel like just being around me can be pretty annoying. And also, like, I'm just not, I'm a good friend when I'm around and when I have the energy to be, but like, I don't keep up with people for shit, you know? I go years without talking to people and without keeping up on their shit. And like, I'm this type of person that's just, always doing something. I don't know. People have really weird perceptions of me, but I don't, I get it. I just, sorry, I'm so hungry. Um, um, People are so generous. To open their homes to me, you know what I mean? I just met this woman on the train with her daughter who offered to essentially help me find a place to stay here in St. Louis if I need. And if I can't stay with any like friends or anything, and she told me that she would help me find work right away. Um, and to get into, I mean, we talked, the 5 hour drive here. And not the entire 5 hours. I did try to nap. She napped. But her daughter is a dancer, um, an influencer, but very young. And, you know, she had offered to essentially give me the exact job, that I want. Um, and to help me out in all of these ways. But at the same time, again, it is at the expense of what I've already planned on doing. And it's not like I have any like super set plans. I mean, I have things I want to accomplish for sure. I have ideas of how to go about that. Um, but nothing's like set in stone or entirely definitive. I'm just really trying to go off of intuition. And to be honest, you know, I've been in fine spirits. I've been managing well, but like, there's been moments that I found myself getting pretty caught up in the feeling of having made mistakes in this, in not fully trusting my intuition, not fully following through on things, just not trusting myself. Not even not trusting myself. I've gotten incredibly good at trusting myself, to be honest. My intuition is more on point than ever. I don't know what's going on over here. I don't know. They might come talk to me and make me move. Um, it's my intuition's more on point, but the thing is that like my self doubt is just still persistent as ever. I mean, it makes it very difficult to listen to your intuition when you have self doubt, and like I don't know, I'm not trying to force anything. I'm not trying to like act like I know what the fuck. Um, I'm following these waves and like I don't know. Yeah, I was caught up in this feeling that I'd made these mistakes and that I was fucking up. But honestly, and I get I'm highly sleep deprived, but like thinking about it right now, I just everything happens for a reason. You know, I'm sorry. I'm trying very hard to work on my capacity to receive things well. You know, I don't like being a bitter cunt, and I tend to be quite often. Um, I hate it, honestly. Like, I abhor it. Every time that I am that way, it just disgusts me and riddles me with guilt, and that is almost just as worse, if not just like, it's like, you know, eating your own vomit. Um, next, I don't want to be that person anymore. You know, so I am putting in the work. It is a lot. I know this isn't the way most people go about things. And that's kind of my whole thing. You know, it's not for me to tell people how to be happy or even what happiness is. It's just for me to worry about myself and let my example speak for itself. You know, I tend to get in the same way that I get super bitter and unappreciative. I get demanding and controlling and emotionally manipulative, even. I mean, I'm pretty self aware and I do try to keep myself in check as often as I possibly can, but none of those things, you know, are, uh, they're tools. They're not cures, uh, especially not for ego or for just being a human, you know. And it's taken a long time for me to kind of work that out. Growing up Christian, I always had this idea that, well, you know, it's kind of like Fallout 3, where like good karma or good deeds make up for the bad deeds, and that's how you receive your karma. Your karma, it just is indefinitely definitive by your actions. But I don't, I don't see that way now. To be honest, like even with the greatest intent, you can still fuck up, and even with the greatest fuck up, you can still succeed. Um, and our actions, though definitive, I don't know if anything is really definitive anymore, but like our actions tend to be a reflection, obviously, of like, you know, our values for sure. Yeah, but none of that's still like definitive. I mean, it's all, everything's just, you know, personal experience or personal opinion. That's it. We're all universally experiencing it, you know. Um, so I don't want to be the type of person that tends to like, and how I've been is like to talk like I know what I'm talking about, to, you know, speak with a passion. I love being passionate. I love speaking with passion. I don't want to suppress any of that creative energy at all. Passion is a wonderful thing, but it definitely should be put into the right outlet. Otherwise, it can quickly become something extremely toxic. And, you know, I can't um, determine for anybody else how they receive my energy, but, or my intents or whatever, you know, but I can for myself actively work on receiving things better. And in the receiving of things better, I also then have like better stuff to put out. Um, you know, they say you can't pour from an empty cup. And like, I heard that my entire life as someone who was more than willing to compromise themselves for the sake of others in any. imaginable sense. And again, it's taken a long time to cultivate a lot of these ideas. I've gone through these cycles more times than I generally care to admit, or at least even acknowledge. To be honest, it's because it's frustrating, and it can be demotivating to kind of put yourself in the perception that I've already done this a million times. Why do I have to keep doing this? Like this is exhausting and demotivating. But like that's how you learn lessons. It's how you learn the lesson. You know, um, if you learned it, you wouldn't be in the same position. You'd be in a different position that reflected what you had learned. And it's hard to swallow that reality. It's hard to run away from it. You know, I wasn't intentionally trying to run from those things either. Honestly, I've always been actively attempting to run into my destiny without necessarily trying to define what that is. You know, I want to be able to receive it fully, and my capacity to define things is akin to my not even akin. It is literally my capacity to limit things. My opinions are great for me. It's all that I have, but like that's not that doesn't mean shit. You know, it doesn't. My opinion, my experiences, like they don't dictate reality. They dictate my reality. They dictate my understanding of things. And that's everything to me. But who am I? You know, like who am I to say anything to anybody or judge anybody or feel any ways about anything anybody else does? I can't. I try my hardest to explain myself on the regular to everybody, anybody who listens. Sorry, I'm gonna just keep picking my nose. I don't give a fuck. This is how I am. Yeah, okay, my phone didn't like that. Sorry. Maybe I should stop picking my nose in front of people. I guess that would be more polite. It's not that I was picking it, I was itching it, but like, it's still rude. I get it. Okay. Um, yeah, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, my opinion and perception and perspective are all for me, just as much as anybody else's is for them. And again, like in the receiving of things properly, I'm able to put things out more properly. In the respect of other people's opinions and beliefs and experiences outside of my own, completely outside of my own. You know, complete like that was another thing for whatever reason growing up Christian and I guess just in such like small circles gave the impression that like my experience was so relative to everyone else's that like if I had an opinion that had been forged through experience, it must be able to be validated by anybody else's experience. Like it is the truth because it's all that I can prove to be the truth. And I've, you know, but like, again, who am I? Like, it's just not how things work. What I've found is that, like, man, everybody is on their own path. And that's fucked up to whoever wants to receive it that way. I don't think it's fucked up. Honestly, I think it's beautiful. I think the way that like the dichotomy works in the third dimension is incredible. The fact that we can have an individual and a universal experience is incredible. The fact that, you know, the individual experiences that I've had and the way that they have influenced me is no different or separate even from anyone else's experiences and the ways that they've been influenced by them. Um, but that's what makes it so beautiful also is that in the contrast you get to see the way that life works and how all of these different experiences like they're all sorry my foot fucking hurts I'm trying to rub it all of these experiences like add up to the grand experience of things, the universal experience of things, and like how even, the worst experiences, they balance out everything. They make everything beautiful. Like, 'cause I don't believe there's even bad experiences. That's coming from me, of course. Like, God, all I have is bad experiences, right? But like, that's a matter of perspective. And I really don't want to keep carrying. The thing is that I am the most powerful being I know. I craft my entire reality subconsciously. I believe I'm not only no different, I believe I'm a direct reflection of my surroundings, but in such interesting ways. I think that everyone is their own highest power and greatest power. I truly believe that. I truly believe that self actualization, that self awareness, that knowing thyself is everything. Everything. I stand in defiance against the systems that would try to convince you otherwise. Every time in my life that I'm confronted with that opposition, I fight it. I fight it. I don't even run from it. I fight it. I am that adamant about it. Um, and mostly, I mean, just because like it's what I mean, it's all there is. But like in my own personal experience, it's been everything to get me to where I needed to be, or to understand what I've needed to understand, or to just to be where I've needed to be, which is right here, right now, for the record. You know, 2:30 in the morning in a city I've only driven through with $30 to my name, a few granola bars, some nuts, my, my art, my art, some of it, you know, a little bit of clothes. I mean, I just, essentially nothing. But I have everything. I mean, I have everything. I'm so fucking abundant. I don't need. Like, that's what's crazy. When I started focusing and working on my capacity to change myself, my entire world changed. And so did everyone else's around me. The entire world has changed right in tow with my capacity to change myself. And I don't think that I'm, you know, out here like changing the actual world in that way. I am. That's how physics works, but at the same time I don't think it's so definitive of myself. It's not like that. We're all doing it. But at the same time, no, we're not, because I meet people everywhere and all the time. And there are plenty of people that aren't self actualized, that aren't trying to be, that don't want to be, that would actively fight against it because comfort and convenience is king in this world. This isn't my world. This is my world. This is my world. Being somewhere, being able to go somewhere I haven't been, and to be this fucking vulnerable without fear or worry or concern. I mean, whatever happens, like, that's what happens. That's what I have to deal with. I used to, like I said, have all of these demands for my experience, and how dare I? I mean, only because, like, it was keeping me from being able to appreciate my experience and to be able to actually be happy. Why would I want that for myself? I don't. I never have. It's the thing that has always broken me down and kept me from achieving my own success. Success doesn't have to look like what everybody thinks it looks like. I have to remind myself that because, man, I know nobody else has been in my head. And so people can only really know as much as I guess I could ever convey. But in the moments that I take the time to reflect, not just like this, but like deeper on like the actual comparison between who I've been and where I've been and who I am now and where I am now in my life. I guess that's where the self doubt comes in because honestly, I can't even believe it. I can, but it's like it's dumbfounding. I have to believe it because it's right here. It's right now. I have it. I have it. It's me. Like me just being me is it. But like, man, I never thought I'd make it. With all the odds stacked up against me and my proclivity to give in to them, I never thought that I would be able to overcome any of the thought processes that have kept me down. And like where I stand right now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, just today I've been in it, trying to process um, and work through a lot of feelings that I have that I don't want to. I don't want to respond to things with bitterness or jealousy or you know any low vibrational anything. I don't want that. I don't want any of it, and I don't need any of it, and I don't have any of it as long as I don't receive any of it. And like that's what I learned. I used to compromise myself and give. I mean, and man, I amazed people with how much I could give with nothing. And I'm so thankful for the power of others to receive good from what was only an illusion. I didn't have love to give. I didn't know what love was. I didn't have it in my heart. It wasn't coming from me. I had concepts and ideas that I projected onto people. And it is only by the grace of God, who is us and in all of us and through all of us and is all of our highest power. I mean, it's the only reason that anything I've ever done or said has had power in the past, because people were accessing God in them and through me, you know, it had nothing to do with me. And that was the whole thing, because as long as I felt that way and believed that like doing these things would somehow gain me some sense of satisfaction, and trying to align my heart with what seemed to be the most sustainable, the most truthful, just the best all around. I assumed that all of those things would fall into place, and they did. Honestly, I look back on my life and like it's crazy. Everything added up, but not because of anything I was doing. It was because of everything I was doing. But it all came down to like the fact that there's just a constant dichotomy with everything that I've done. There's always been other things happening. The universe has always continued to work through those things, and like nothing that I've set my heart to that was not in alignment with what is meant for me has succeeded. Yet everything, literally everything that I have found myself in alignment with, I have achieved. And it it really is dumbfounding. I'm not the person that I was, and not I don't have I mean, at such a fundamental level that like it's not just that I look different and that I talk different and that I walk different and that I, you know, appear different. It's not even that I feel different. or that others feel like I'm different. I mean, there's straight up just heart energy transference, like energy transference from the core of my person that I've had in the past that I don't have anymore. And there is core energy transference that I have now that I've never had before. And I mean, I swear I've said this multiple times, but like, if I can do it, literally, so can anyone. It's the whole point. It's the whole point. Because I think a lot of people tend to look at me with a weird sense of privilege. I am privileged. I'm extremely lucky. I'm so privileged. I always have been. But the thing is that that has come through a redefining of what it is that people consider privileged to be. You know, I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I'm not like, well to do in those ways. I don't have anything I want at any point in time, but yes, I do. Yes, I do. The reason that I do is because I got my heart in alignment with what is happening in my life, with my real life. There's people in this position, same position I'm in, essentially, but they don't receive it the same. And that dictates what the reality is. For those that are in suffering, there is suffering. But for those who refuse to suffer, then there is none. And, that's what I'm constantly trying to work on, is being able to assess those core fundamental energy transferences within myself, and to be able to cultivate something more pure and sustainable and positive. And again, I don't want to be the type of person that conveys things in a way that is demanding, or with a sense of expectation, or any sense of control, to be honest, at all. Because it's truly only been in the releasing of things and in the acceptance of things that anything good has ever happened to me. Because the universe wants to give me good, and the universe wants to take care of me. But I've struggled to do that for myself, and I've often fought the universe for those things because I didn't trust it. Because I didn't trust me. I didn't have the capacity to trust when I couldn't. I thought I could trust other people, and every time I found myself being deceived. But when I trust myself, I don't fall into the same traps. I don't have those same experiences anymore. I can see plainly when there's things going on that I can't trust, and then I don't trust them. I still move the way that I want to move. I still try to carry the heart that I've always had, and with as much grace as possible. I don't try to like portray myself to be some different person. I literally just am different now than I've been. And I change pretty regularly, fundamentally. That's where my focus is. That's everything. That's why knowing yourself is so important, because anything I could ever teach anybody comes from a place of them knowing themselves. Anything I could ever do comes from a place of me knowing myself, and like, it's all there is. It's all that there is. And I just, people complain and complain and complain and complain and complain and complain and fucking bitch and complain, and don't do shit to change anything. Complaints aren't changing things. I don't know if people don't realize that or what, but like, being bitter and being negative, being frustrated, being jealous, and being hateful, waging war within yourself is not going to bring you peace. Waging war on others isn't love. There is no peace there. And it isn't sustainable, And the thing is that, yeah, there's a time and place for every tool under the sun, including things that are momentary, shallow, low vibrational. There's a time and place for those tools, but at the same time, that's largely in part for the fact that that's just how it is. That is the dichotomy, really. But when we focus on not those negatives, but the positives of things, those tools just do their job naturally and they don't become weapons cutting into us, weapons we used against other people, you know. And I suppose that's really the issue. It's very easy in our own pain to lash out at someone else, especially if they rub us the wrong way, for whatever reason, even if it's well intended. But if you have a wide ass gaping open wound and somebody brushes up against it, or even in trying to heal it, like put something that stings on it or whatever, I mean, it's natural to lash out. But we move and act out of the the flow of our hearts, out of the core of our person. Our experiences are reflections of, our actions and like our acceptance of self and stuff, and uh, those things are reflections of our core person. And so that's what I work with as much as I can. And you can't work with your core person if you don't know yourself. And I can't tell someone else how to know themselves. That's a concept I'm working out right now, is how do you convey the reality of individuality to the individual when that reality is only measurable according to the individual and of themselves. I can't dictate for a person their own convictions. So, how do I help people become self actualized? For me, it kind of comes naturally. No, it doesn't. It didn't. I was a dumbass. I was lazy and selfish and greedy and lustful and bitter and angry and just anything you could imagine. I've been it, and probably for an extended period of time. So I guess it didn't come naturally in that way. I was somehow opened to it and was just willing to receive that. And again, not immediately. It actually has happened over the course of many cycles that have continued to repeat until I learn these lessons. But we're playing Mario. That's how this game works. I mean, it's if you don't learn the lesson, it's just going to come at you, maybe in a different form, but it's the same thing, over and over and over again until you learn the lesson. And once you learn the lesson, it's not that it's over, it's that now you know how to move through the next phase better. And these are all, at least for me, have been incredibly hard pills to swallow. So I don't want to be one of those people that just throws this, you know, information out there as if it's easy to grasp, or I think it's easy enough to grasp, but I think more than anything, it's seemingly impossible to accept when your focus is on lack, on what you don't have instead of what you do, sort of deal. We have the power in of ourselves. We are our greatest power. We are everything. We manifest the reality that we experience every day. It's literally just tied in that way. That's just how the physics of it work. Like, that's the law of attraction. You don't have to do shit. You just work on yourself. You be in the right vibration, the right time, the right, and if you're in proper alignment, sorry, if you're in proper alignment, then everything works out for you. It really does. And like it looks different for every person. Me being in alignment now more than ever looks like me being homeless, having given up my dog to be homeless. You know, I can't imagine that most people could understand that, and not by appearances alone at all. It's still hard for me to swallow. But it's more obvious every day that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm cultivating myself, and that is all that I have. You know, I'm not waiting on somebody else's garden to blossom. I mean, that's great. And when other people's gardens are blooming, like, and they invite me to be able to experience that, enjoy that, I love that so much. But at some point in time, like, I mean, and really, like, what really truly makes me happy is to be able to have my own, the way, you know, the way that it's supposed to be. Like, if I enjoy everybody else's flowers and then come back to essentially nothing, I find myself becoming embittered and jealous and low vibrational for a lot of different reasons. But when I focus on myself, when I change myself, when I really do change myself, my entire character, you know, I don't gotta be the one that does that thing. I don't gotta be the one that does that thing. It comes in bits and pieces. I'm by no means perfect. There's plenty of ways I'm constantly still fucking up. But more than ever, and the majority of the time, I'm in alignment with whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't speak on those things. I mean, it's not for me to say. I only know through the experience itself when I see the effects my presence in my experience has on things, you know. And more than anything, I mean, yeah, I care so much for people, and I want people to be able to be happy. And it's easy when you aren't defining it as a million other things that will never be it, you know? And that is the hard part, the unlearning. And that is what it is. I grew up being brainwashed by a weird Christian cult, but and so my unlearning was an act of unlearning. But I found coming out into the world that everybody's going through the same shit. I'm no different. I'm not special. I appreciate that I'm special to people, and I honestly love being different for people in all of these different ways. But like, I'm just a reflection. Anything anyone can see in me or receive from me is coming from them. You're the one looking at me. You're the one seeing what you see. Some people look at me and they don't like what they see. Some people look at me and they like what they see so much that they like can't even recognize themselves. I want to balance because that's where happiness is. That's where peace is. You know, it's not these extremes we love to tend towards. But in the same hand, of course, this is coming from somebody who made the extreme choice to leave everything behind in order to become homeless, in order to go on this quest. So nothing is truly definitive outside of your personal perspective and experience of it. You are God. You create everything. You created all. There's nothing outside of you. You can't prove. You can't prove anything otherwise. Yes, when before you were here, an entire world and universe existed, and after you're gone, those same things will exist. And in fact, it goes on forever and for always. We are a single consciousness experiencing itself in every possible way. It's an algorithm. It's a system. There's numbers, and just like pi. I mean, there's an actual. Yeah, it seems to go on forever, but it doesn't. It doesn't. There is an end to it. And I mean, for as much as we can tell, the end is just another beginning. So I don't think there's anything to fear. But yeah, I can't wait to see the world in alignment with itself. God, I can't wait. It has been so long, so long. I mean, it's been so long, thousands of years, just lost in ourselves, which is beautiful. It's beautiful because it was being lost in ourselves all this time that we've been able to find ourselves. We wouldn't have had to find anything if it weren't lost. And that is the beauty of things. I'm an extremely abundant woman. I'm an extremely privileged person. I've seen it all. I've experienced so much loss, but I'm free, you know? And I am. And it is crazy in a world that has turned its back on sanity, actual sanity, to really be inside of sanity, to understand what it means. Yeah, it's crazy. But like in the best of ways. I mean, I wouldn't give it up for anything. I really wouldn't. And that's why like all of these opportunities coming before me, I have to use my intuition to wade through, because it's not that they're not wonderful, incredible opportunities that could lead me many places. But even the most amazing things can be out of alignment. I want it all, but not at the expense of anything else, you know? And until I figure that out, I've still got a ways to go. And I don't know if that's even going to be the end, you know? But I am so happy to be where I'm at. I don't know if I'm going to sleep here. I'm going to try to take a little nap. But I needed to, record since I haven't for a bit. So this is where I'm at. And I'll get back to you probably later today.